If one cop kills one black person a month, people march. They put it all over social media, and they really gun for change, which they should. Then you have diseases killing members of our community by the millions. Does the violence inflicted upon our bodies through the poor food choices we're given not warrant comparable outrage and attention by activists?
It's been set up to keep us almost in a daze, asleep. We need to politicize our food choices. Having a healthy body is political. Being able to have a lot of energy so that we can fight those larger battles.
For some people of color, particularly those who aren't informed about nutrition and so forth, some of the vegan books and films that come from dominant culture that promote veganism, they kind of feel like vehicles for social imperialism. We come from the hold up, who are you to tell me how to live my life? Who are you to tell me how to eat kind of mentality because of our history, and it's justified.
A lot of the ways that organizations communicate, they use a very missionary and colonialistic approach. For example, we're going to go and teach those people how to eat properly. It assumes that these particular groups, which are usually non-white communities, working class communities, they've become the white man's burden. They don't have wisdoms or knowledge systems that are of equal value or even better value in terms of understanding their own nutrition.
We're in the age of Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter on so many different levels. And for me, I come at that as a food scholar by saying, yeah, we do. So that means our whole life matters. Our histories, our present, our future. And so when we're in this space where everyone is telling us what we should be doing, both in the community and from outside the community, I see that as a need and a desire to rule my Black body. You need to bring me in line. I need to walk a certain way. I need to talk a certain way. I need to eat a certain set of foodstuffs in order to be an acceptable Black body in this particular cultural moment.
As much as I would like to see people adopt a plant-based diet, I can't force it on people.
I'm providing information so that you can make an informed decision, and then I let it go. That's it. I'm not vested in it beyond that. Not everybody's going to do it. It took me a long time to realize that. Not everybody is going to do it.
And then there's the matter of access. I remember I was watching this food documentary on veganism, and this white chick, she was making a point about how easy it is to go vegan. Like, you can just go to your neighborhood health store. And I'm watching this like, okay, you know, for the affluent white woman living in an upper middle class neighborhood with the Whole Foods on the corner, like, I'm sure it is easy to just go vegan. But a lot of minority neighborhoods don't have health food stores. And why is that? Why is it that people living in minority neighborhoods don't have access to fresh, affordable, healthy food? And why isn't that a point worth bringing up?
A food desert, by definition, is an area where there is not access to either a grocery store or healthy foods within like a mile or more.
Unless the neighborhood is going through gentrification, where there are more affluent young whites moving in, then you start to see these healthier options coming.
I grew up surrounded by nothing but fast food chains and carryouts. I didn't even have the awareness to see that as a problem.
The closest grocery store that I go to is Safeway, and they have organic vegetables and foods there. But sometimes I do find that I'm not pleased with the way a lot of their vegetables look.
Like, look at this. Like, this doesn't look fresh. It's gross. This is the kind of organic stuff you have here.
Many people who are working 1 to 2 jobs, they're not making living wages. And so the ability for them to afford the food is just too high. You also have people who have to use various means of transportation in order to get access to healthy food. We found out recently that one area where the bus actually prohibits people who are riding the bus to take more than 2 bags of groceries on the bus. Well, if your means of getting your fresh groceries is going to be on a bus and you can only bring 2 bags of groceries home and you have children, that's going to make things very difficult for you.
health is the front lines. You can't just have health just in a vacuum of privilege, right? Health is about access. It's about economics. It's about the psychology. It's about the organization of the community to provide certain things.
Most of us can figure out the biggest incentives for exploiting others, which is profit. That word drives so many too often to look other ways to approve their actions that they would not normally stand up to scrutiny. Under capitalism, both humans and animals are typically working for the profit of others. A system which is inherently about exploiting and keeping them oppressed sees no problem in allowing it to continue.
I founded Food Empowerment Project and I currently run it. We are a vegan food justice organization where we work to encourage people to go vegan for the sake of the animals. We also work on access to healthy foods in communities of color and low-income communities because the lack of access to healthy foods in this country has become a privilege instead of a right, which it should be.
Back in DC, one of the guys I went to high school with, Ronnie Webb, School Without Walls 04 baby, he started a nonprofit called the Green Scheme. And on a grassroots level, his organization goes into at-risk communities, which are predominantly communities of color, and they promote health awareness. They teach people about urban agriculture techniques. The Green Scheme, they also use urban agriculture as a weapon to help people in the community back against lack of access.
Urban agriculture is basically growing food in the city and growing it in crazy places, or I guess what people would consider crazy places. So right now, we're behind an apartment complex in Southeast DC and we have a hoop house.
I also went to School Without Walls with Xavier. When I went to interview him in his garden, he let me taste some of his lettuce. And his lettuce game was real strong. I mean, real strong. But I'm engaged.
We're trying to create something new that the people control, that the people dictate to create new access to food. So right now, anybody that lives in the surrounding community or neighborhood, in a few months will have access to kale, collard greens, turnip greens, carrots, tomatoes, some more okra, beets, radishes, all types of stuff.
That's awesome. Like, it's perfect. It's a perfect fruit. It's a perfect vegetable right there. Kyle just was like, there it is. Go eat that.
In order to be healthy, we can't settle for foods that kill us. So the same way we rally for police in neighborhoods to get their situation together, let's rally for clean, organic, affordable food in our neighborhoods. So there's the issue of access, but let's say more people in marginalized communities had access to healthier, affordable food. Would they eat it?
People don't understand how nutrition affects our bodies, how it affects our wellness, how it affects our appearance, how it affects our energy levels. But we are taught the importance of having a mobile phone.
I mean, if we got cable, if we got the new Ewins, you know what I mean? Whatever, if we can pull that off, you know, shoes is like $350 now. I'm like, jeans is $150, you know, a piece. So in the hood, we the freshest it get. So, but then we skimp on what really matters. Somebody got to say that, because that's not politically correct. You say that, you catch all kind of flack, but real talk, I don't want to see no Ewins on my feet, you know what I mean, and I'm eating Dairy Queen. Give me the organic super kale grown down the block, you know what I mean, and I'll wear some flip-flops.
Eating plant-based meals, that's an invisible choice. It won't get you the nods and the high fives and the Instagram likes as Jordans or a nice hair weave. But you really gotta question yourself if your desire to be seen as fresh outweighs your desire to actually be fresh and healthy. And don't even psych yourself out with, oh, but it's too expensive. There's plenty of ways to be vegan on a budget.
Do you spend your money here, or do you spend it on medicine later on?
Go to EWG.org, which stands for Environmental Working Group, and they have a list of the fruits and vegetables that are most sprayed and least sprayed. The least sprayed are by default organic, but they don't carry the higher price tag. and swap out your white rice for brown rice. Swap out your white pasta for whole grain pasta. These things are easy to do and they're cheap.
It's really not a matter of a vegan diet being more expensive than a carnivorous diet. It more so depends on what you buy, because when I wasn't a vegan, I would turn to salmon for protein. Now 3 or more salmon steaks, that would run me like $10 or more. Whereas if I get a block of organic tofu, which is 3 servings of protein, that only runs me $1.99. Of course, if I decide to get the fancy vegan crab cakes from Whole Foods, like that's gonna set me back. Same thing with eating out. Or if we decide to do Asian, my veggie chow mein is gonna be cheaper than the shrimp chow mein. So if you eat meat, you eat within your means. If you're a vegan, you eat within your means.
I'm of the perspective, because of my own experience, that I've been on plant-based since I was on food stamps. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a question. It was about, oh, this ain't healthy. Well, the same hustle I apply to whatever else, I'm about to apply my hustle to getting the food, the organic.
Hustle something that's not going to kill us, but it's going to make us healthy. You know what I'm saying? And you can still use the same mentality on flipping something, on selling something, on pitching it,